Good evening, everyone. It is September 2nd, 2024. It is Tuesday night, and excuse me, Monday night. Boy, I'm always getting these dates wrong. And I just want to quickly make as short of a video tonight as I can to show you that, well, this is the most bizarre hurricane season that I've seen in a long time. They're talking about all the way since April that this would be a hyperactive, boom, crazy hurricane season with 30 up to 30 named storms, 23 to 30. I don't think they're going to make it there now. We had Alberto was a weak little storm. We had Beryl, which came across and tore up some of the Caribbean islands, especially southern windwards. Went up through Texas, caused a lot of damage around the Houston area. And then we had Chris, which was a non-consequential storm. And then we had Debbie, which formed in the Western Caribbean, went up through the Big Bend and Peninsula, Florida, went across southeast Georgia, state of South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, eastern Pennsylvania, up into the northeast, and caused a whole bunch of flooding. Right now, it looks to me like, as I'll show you in the satellite shot here, looks like the East Atlantic is starting to wake up. But let me just give you a better idea, better orientation of where the United States is. Okay, so right here, you have this is the Yucatan Peninsula. This is the outline of the United States and Mexico. This is the Gulf of Mexico. This is Florida, the East Coast. As you can see, here is the Central America area. There's northern South America. And right out here, you can see it, this is the coast of Africa. And this time of the year, there's some really hefty convection thunderstorm activity popping up over the Eastern Atlantic. This is way different from just a couple of days ago. And here's another area right here. This is the area that they're saying has a chance of development. And I'm thinking this is, or hold on a second. Let me double check on that. I am not sure about that. Let me go to this other. Okay, yeah. So it's the area farther east, but there's a new area right now. This is another area. The area they're talking about developing is this one right here, which makes sense. But I think this other one's going to develop too, and it may very well do this, turn out to sea, or it could keep going west if we get a ridge in the jet stream popping up around here. This is the disturbance they've been talking about for several days. I don't think that's going to do anything. I'm going to put a big X over that. Now, there's possible it could get organized as a low pressure over here. Let me use a different color. This is not working. It's possible it could be start organizing as a low pressure center over here, and it could just mill around here and then drift north, or it could just go into Mexico. So they're not really sure right now. I'm about ready to write this system off. I don't think it's going to do anything. These two systems, however, I think this one will do something, and I think this one will do something. And as you can see, we have a very persistent frontal boundary just kind of hanging out here over the Atlantic area. This is just kind of like it's a stationary front. Was a cold front, now it's, or just a dry front. It's now actually a stationary front. So it's kind of like this, just kind of sitting here, just hanging out, bringing rain and storms right off the Atlantic coast, and it's bringing an unsettled weather to Florida. Meanwhile, there's a low pressure area just kind of hanging out over off the Texas coast here. It's just kind of spinning around here, but it's not really going to do anything. It's going to eventually drift along the southeast right here and bring prolonged heavy rain all across the Gulf Coast and across the northern half of Florida. So it's going to stay pretty wet here from here on out and going through to early next week, actually. So it's going to be a very wet time here. Let me go here and let's look at some other things here across the Tropical Tidbits website here. Let me look at the some more satellite imagery here. Let's look at the water vapor imagery. Okay, this is it's taking its time loading, isn't it? Let's erase this right here. This is not what I want. Hold on a second. Bear with me here. We need to go here to, I hate when this does this for me. Let's scroll on down here to the Atlantic. We're going to get a wide shot here. Oh no, water vapor. Let's look at the water vapor. Okay, so here you go. So right here, you can see, yeah, things are definitely starting to heat up out here over the East Atlantic. Just like I was saying last week, We've got low pressure cells starting to pop up here. More than likely, they're going to start heading off in this direction. But if the Bermuda Azores high builds far enough and gets strong enough, it could shove these systems west for a little bit and then turn north. Basically, there's a good chance these will miss the US because they're so far out. However, there's a possibility hanging out of low pressure systems just hanging out here over the Gulf of Mexico. Some of these could, one of these could congeal, I guess, form together, and it could eventually track its way north towards Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama area, or one could just slowly meander and then just head into Mexico. There's a lot of mess going on here over the Gulf and the Northwest Caribbean. A lot of thunderstorm activity. Nothing's organized. So we're not going to see any hurricane threats to the Gulf Coast of the U.S. or Florida really for the next 5 to 7 days, unlike what I was earlier thinking. I was thinking this system right here was going to really blossom and develop into something, but I'm going to put a big X over that. I don't think that's going to develop. I really just don't anymore. It looks pretty pathetic, and indications are it's going to continue on to the west right here, just kind of just wash itself out over here over the Central American area around Guatemala and El Salvador area. So I don't think we have much to worry about with that. Let's take a look at the computer models too. We're going to look at the let's look at the European for a change. European model hasn't been. Let's see how far out it goes. So through September 6th. Okay, we're going to start tonight, September 2nd. We're going to first off, let's put a different map here. We're going to look at the Western Atlantic here. Well, let's actually, I take that back. Sorry, let me go back again. This is not what I'm wanting. Go back. I really need to edit these videos out. Bear with me, folks. I'm just having a hard time tonight. I want to see the entire Atlantic. Here we go. That's what I was talking about. Now this is the European model. Let's put this into motion and we'll slow it down a bit. So this is starting tonight. Now just watch these features out here I'm circling. And notice here in Florida, just green around and all the way from Texas to Florida, lots of showers and thunderstorms. It looks like the European is not showing much development with the first feature until it gets out here about 300 to 500 miles to the east-northeast of the Caribbean islands. So it's just kind of meandering. This one does look like it develops and looks like it already started over again. So let's see. Let's go back to that. So by Friday the 6th, it looks like it does show a low pressure, non-tropical low pressure forms off the East Coast. That's not going to be hurricane or anything. Most likely not. It could be a subtropical storm. But it looks like, according to the European, nothing's going to happen in the Caribbean, just disorganized showers in the Gulf. And really, I think, let's see what the Canadian model does. Basically shows a similar situation. A couple of weak depressions or storms might form over the East Atlantic. And then as we go through time here, let's go back a little bit. But this one, I'll put this one into motion myself. I can. Okay, what the heck? Here we go. Play. As you can see, this is the Canadian model. Shows a couple of depressions might form out here. Just thunderstorms along the Gulf Coast and across Georgia and South Carolina. Low pressure does try to form in the southwestern Gulf, but goes into Mexico and South Texas. Meanwhile, up here, you might get a tropical storm in the North Atlantic, according to this model. But honestly, not seeing a whole lot. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. So it's going to be rainy and stormy across the Gulf of Mexico and across the Gulf Coast states. Stormy and rainy across Florida and the Southeast, including Georgia and South Carolina, North Carolina, eastern part of North Carolina. And honestly, there's not much to talk about. I hope you all have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow.